Hey everyone, this is Dorian with Shuffle and Chill, and today we're going to do an update breakdown for week 13 of Pokemon Shuffle. But before that, I want to apologize for not uploading anything for week 12. Sorry about that, I was very busy with work, but I have all the content, so I may upload it in the future. I don't know if I will do a full episode. Like this week, I may do just compartmentalized bits of it. So I hope you guys will enjoy it. Anyway, let's go on to this week 13, because it is extremely busy. So I'm going to start off with the daily Pokemon. And usually we don't get anything too useful, even with skill swaps, but this week is an exception. First off, Cast Form comes stock with Cloud Clear Plus, which can be really useful for mission cards. For example, mission card 8, I believe it is where you have to defeat Evoltal and clear 40 clouds or something like that. This Pokemon can be very useful, so make sure you nab that one. Then secondly, we have actually two Pokemon, Solrock and Lunatone. Both of these are rock type Pokemon with a max attack power of 111, and what you can do is you can swap them. Either one of them. I wouldn't do both because they're like carbon copies of each other. So swap one of them to Barrier Shot, which I believe will give you the only Barrier Shot rock type Pokemon that we have in the game currently. So those will be in the later days. Make sure you pick one of those up because they are extremely useful. Barrier Shot is really good once it has a decent skill level. So yeah, anyway, that's it for the daily Pokemon, and next we're going to move on to something else. Okay, next we're going to talk about the Safari for this week. We don't have any great Pokemon in this batch, to be honest with you, so I'll just talk about like the top 4 that I think you should focus on getting. So obviously, this is Pokemon and you want to catch them all, so you should get all of them if you can, but if you can't, these are the best ones that you should have, and also these are some of the ones that you may want to invest in, although as I will tell you in the next few seconds, like some of them are probably not too high of a priority. So first I want to talk about Winking Pikachu. It's one of the more useful ones. It comes with Swap Plus and a max AP of 115, which is a decent attack, but I will say that as for me, this won't break. I don't have a great electric team, and it still won't break my team. So it's decent. Maybe situationally it can be good, but it's definitely not a staple. Next we have Winking Raichu, who has a max AP of 105 with Rock Break Plus. Rock Break Plus is a really old skill. It's not good anymore. Rock Break Plus has a similar activation rate and removes more rocks, and now of course this game is really more geared towards stuff like Rock Shot and all the other shot abilities. So Winking Raichu, it can be decent for people who are early game. Also of the same vein, Alolan Diglett. It's a steel type with a pretty weak max AP with Rock Break Plus. Again, a decent skill. It can be useful for people who are at the beginning of this game, but if you're mid to late game, this is basically you're just gonna catch this and let it sit there in your inventory. One of the more useful, or I would say the most useful Pokemon in this is Alolan Dugtrio, who has a max AP of 105. Now 105 isn't crazy, but his skill is actually really interesting. So his skill is 3 Force, which basically triggers 100% of the time as long as you make a match of 3. And at level 5, it has a ×5 multiplier. Now with the little math, you'll see that this is actually decent damage for a very good type. So because Alolan Dugtrio is a steel type, you get super effective against stuff like Fairy, which is very useful. So as a super effective, against something that is super effective against, you'll be doing 105 times 2, and then you'll get the multiplier for 3 Force on a match of 3, which is about 1,000 damage. 1,000 damage per match of 3 is very good, because Of course, you can do more damage with other Pokemon, but those may be more situational, or you may need to have matches of 4 to activate the skills. But a match of 3 is literally the easiest thing that you can do in this game. So I would say a Alolan Dugtrio is probably the best thing that we get out of this batch, followed by Winking Pikachu maybe, if you decide you do want to invest in it. So yeah, that's it for the Safari. Let's move on to the next thing. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to the Pokemon that we have that are only here for either great challenges or special challenges or whatever they're called, but they're pretty useless for us this week. We have a really busy week, and I'll start with the least useful stuff, the stuff you should just catch, and then move on with the rest of the agenda for this week. So first of all, Winking Chikorita. So it's a grass with 100 max AP and Barrier Bash Plus. Barrier Bash Plus again is decent for mid to low tier players. Anyone who is late game will find this pretty useless, but if you want to catch it for collection, of course you should do that. Okay, so the next Pokemon that we have is Dialga, who has Block Smash Plus. Dialga is kind of interesting because it's one of the stronger steel types, so it can get up to 145 attack, which is good because again, steel types are very useful against fairies. But its skills aren't very useful. Crushing Step can be decent, but I don't think it's worth the skill swap. So basically it comes stock with Block Smash Plus, which is okay, and then you can swap it to Crushing Step, which delays your opponent's disruptions for a turn. I don't think Crushing Step is worth the skill swap, and I do think that Block Smash Plus can be more useful and it can help you clear up some boards. But yeah, for me, Dialga is definitely just a catch, and it can still be useful as a beat stick at 145 with ×2 multiplier. You're looking at 290, I think, so that's pretty good. The next Pokemon we're going to talk about, so the next 4 Pokemon are actually pretty useful, but because of how busy this week is, you probably won't get around to farming all of them. So here's the order in which I would recommend them, and I'll give you guys some reasons. So you have Lycanroc. We have Lycanroc, which gets a max attack of 135, which is really, really good. And it has the skill Rock Combo, which at level 5 has a decent activation rate of 60, 90, and 100. So Rock Combo will boost all your rock-based matches in a combo, which is very good support for rocks. Now here's a big but. So the big but is that we don't have a lot of time and a lot of hearts this week to invest in Lycanroc. It has a 25% drop rate, so that's not great. And on top of that, you can fill this niche with any typeless combo user, and it'll probably have just the same effect. You know, if you do something like Hoopa or Silvally, it'll probably be just as useful. You know, plus or minus a few resistances or, you know, super effective types that Lycanroc will have, for example against fire. But for the most part, Lycanroc can be skipped. It is definitely something that you want to invest in maybe late game, but mid to mid game probably not, because there's other stuff. So the next thing I would suggest to look at, the next Pokemon is Salazzel. Salazzel has a max AP of 125, and I believe it has a poison as the primary skill, but you can the thing about Salazzel is you can actually swap it to Shot Out, which, if you don't already know, Shot Out is one of the most useful skills in the game, because you can take away Pokemon that are non-support Pokemon, and it deals a whole bunch of damage. At 125, that's really good. That's better than Rayquaza, so it's very good, and Poison is a very good type. So definitely worth skill swap catching and skill swapping, definitely worth farming, except this week you may not want to do that, because Salazzel requires hearts to challenge, just 1 heart, but at a 25% drop rate, you'll probably want to invest in the next 2 Pokemon. So let's talk about those. your top 2 priorities for this week as far as these kind of stages have to be Toxipex and Kyurem. I'll talk about Toxipex first. So Toxipex has a max AP of 120, and it has the ability Barrier Shot. Barrier Shot is one of the shot abilities, so it's great. It's very good, and if you can max it, it does a ton of damage. Poison itself is a great type. It's a very good skill, and the best thing about Toxipex is that this week it requires 300 coins to challenge. Now 300 coins is a little pricey, yes, but the thing is, because it requires 300 coins, that means that you don't have to spend a heart, which means you have more hearts to use on Kyurem or Salazzel, whichever one you choose to do. So yeah, that's a very good thing. So my recommendation would be farm Toxipex, use all your coins, use your Weaken Meowth coins to challenge it, I believe. So if you do the math, in order to run this 100 times, you'll need about 30,000 coins, which is pretty pricey, but I think you'll probably get Barrier Shot to level 5 within 20 to 25,000 coins, depending on your luck. Okay, so let's move on to Kyurem. So Kyurem, a white Kyurem that we have for this week, is really good because its max AP is 150, and you can skill swap it to Barrier Shot. Now at 150 with Barrier Shot, it's going to be dealing some very nice damage against dragons, and the reason why I chose to invest in Kyurem this week over Salazzel is that in the coming weeks we're going to have escalation battles that are dragon based, and we're going to have Kyurem Black, I believe, next week. So you want your best, you want to invest in the Pokemon that will be the most useful. Also with its 2 heart requirement for Kyurem White, you'll be able to you have a 50% drop rate for the skill booster, skill candy. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. My top 2 things would be probably Kyurem White for this week and Toxipex. If you already have a very high level Kyurem, or you've already maxed out Barrier Shot because you've been playing for a while, of course you should go with Salazzel. Or if maybe you're trying something in the main stages that requires a very good poison Pokemon, you may want to farm Salazzel instead of Kyurem White. But yeah, that's going to be it for these kind of stages. Okay guys, so now we're going to move on to the escalation battle for this week. It's actually the escalation battle for last week and this week. Sorry I wasn't able to make a video last week to tell you guys what you guys should focus on and where you should stop in this escalation battle. So I personally will probably stop at level 100 for this escalation battle because that's where you get Skill Swapper. So the Skill Swapper stage is usually pretty hard. I don't know if I will continue much after that. Maybe I will though, just to power up Giratina, because it is a useful Pokemon. So let's talk about Giratina first as a Pokemon. So Giratina maxes out at 130 attack as a ghost, and it comes with power of 4 plus as a skill, and you can skill swap it to Blindside. So ideally you want to skill swap it to Blindside, but skill swaps are really expensive, so I don't recommend doing that unless you want to, unless you have that extra skill swap, and I personally don't, so I will not skill swap it to Blindside. Now why is Blindside better? Well, for power of 4 plus, you do get a times 4.5 multiplier at level 5. So it's better than Blindside's times 4 multiplier at level 5. But the thing is, Blindside can activate at a match of 3, 4, or 5, whereas Power 4 plus can only activate at a match of 4. So you do get a little more attack, but you get a much more limited situations where you can actually use it. So I would honestly definitely recommend swapping it if you have it. If you don't, Power 4 Plus is not bad at all, and it will still be extremely useful. It just will not be quite as useful as for damage burst as Blindside, but Ghosts don't really need that much support, so this Giratina is kind of just blinging out your Ghost team. For people who are late game, it's kind of just an extra damage burst Pokemon. Some of you probably won't even use it. But so if we go back to talking about the rewards for this stage, I just want to go over them a little bit and just kind of talk about why you may want to stop at the level that I suggested. So for level 5 you get a XP booster, you know, plus 5 moves, then you get a disruption delay at 30, mega speed up at 50, some EXP boosters all the way up to 85, and a level 100 you get the skill swapper. You don't really get anything good after that until maybe at level 200 where you get the mega speed up. And because this week and well, I guess last week is over, but this week we have so many things that will require you to dedicate some hearts into them, like white Kyurem and Salazzel. If you want to farm them, you really don't want to spend too much time on something like XP boosters, because you can get XP boosters anywhere else with other stages. So my recommendation is just do this up to level 100. Past level 100, if you need a few more stages in order to max out power of 4 plus or blindside, I would say go ahead and do that. But other than that, I would say stop after skill swap. Yeah, after you get the skill swap. Yeah, so that's it for the escalation battle. I also just reminding you, please do the escalation battle before you do the competitive challenge, because you get a lot of free stuff that will cut down on the cost of the competitive challenge, which is what we're going to be talking about next. Okay, and the last thing that I'm going to talk about for this week is going to be the competitive battle or the competitive stage for this week. And for this week we have, as a competitive stage, we have Mega Manectric. So Mega Manectric, so let's just talk about the Manectric as a Pokemon in and of itself. I don't think it's a great Pokemon. It's honestly like not even that useful once you have it. So the effect is it makes a zigzag, 2 vertical zigzag lines of lightning. Manectric as a Pokemon itself is electric with a max attack of 105. Its skill is Hitting Streak, but you know, of course, if you're using it as a Mega, that won't really matter. Hitting Streak does have decent activation once you get it to level 5, or actually even at like level 3 it's pretty good, but the multiplier isn't quite as good as something like Hitting Streak Plus or Hitting Streak Plus Plus. So but let's talk about the competitive stage, some of the stuff that you may want to use, and some of the rewards. So of course the rewards are always the same for this kind of stuff. You get level ups, mega speed ups, and raise max levels, and you get Manectric. Sorry, I don't even know how to say that, but basically Manectric is what allows you to have a mega Manectric. If you already have that, you will just get a mega speed up like myself. Useful Pokemon for this, so because this stage actually allows a complexity -1, you want to go with something that reduces the number of Pokemon on the board even more, or just is very combo based. So a TCU Zert like Hoopa Unbound or Silvally will work really well against this. I personally have Hoopa Unbound, so I'll probably be using that, but I think Silvally is a little bit stronger when it comes to this stuff. So you're gonna need that. As far as a Mega, there's a couple of ways you can go with this. A lot of people are using Mega Rayquaza, which is decent because of course it clears other Pokemon. But you can also, if you are more like control based and you don't mind spending a lot of time trying to do this, a run of this, you can use Mega Camerupt and just like Mega Start it. And it's super effective. It's very useful. You can make sure that you extend your combos with your Silvally combos, so that'll be good. As far as the third Pokemon, obviously, because if you do a full item run, you'll only have 3 Pokemon. It's a toss-up. I don't have a great team, but I will probably end up using Hippowdon. Because I don't have anything that really does any great damage. I just got my Groudon last week, and it has Berry Shot, but Berry Shot is pretty useless, and I don't have it at a high level. So I'll probably go with Hippowdon Female, because Hippowdon Female, if you have it, if you have the skill Final, I think it's called Final Effort, and you have it at a decent level. At level 5, it does like 15 or 16,000 with the last match. It's a crazy amount, and it has a decent max attack of 105, I believe. So it's pretty good. It's decent. it'll give you some steady damage, and at the same time, if you get that final match, you'll do a very, very cheap 15,000. I think it's like 15,000 with the match of 4, so it's probably even more with the match of 5. It might be closer to like 20 or 25,000. So yeah, anyway, so that's my strategy for Manectric. Honestly, I would just recommend one run, because at 9,000 for complexity -1, this is a pretty expensive thing to run, to do. And also you may want to save your money for Toxipex. Remember, those Toxipex runs cost 300 coins each. But yeah, anyway, so that's my recommendations. Those are all my recommendations for this week. Again, sorry about not uploading last week. I was just kind of swamped. But yeah, so your main priorities for this week, I would say, if I had to do a rundown of what this week should look like, is use your no hearts needed for the Safari right away, so that you get stuff that has the lowest appearance rate. So you get 15 minutes, you don't need any hearts, you just keep going in and out of the stage until you get the Pokemon that you want. Go ahead and catch it. If you have to use a Great Ball, go ahead and use it, because it's worth saving time. Next, I would say work on Giratina. Make sure you get Giratina all the way up to 100, finish 100, get that skill swap. After you do that, go ahead and try the Mega Manectric. Just do a run of that. You want to get that just out of the way so you don't have to worry about it. After that, I would say move on to the special stages that we get for this week. The Winking Chikorita, the Dialga, and we also have like a special daily Cosmog. If you don't have Cosmog, go ahead and catch it. Other than that, it's not a great Pokemon. It might be useful in Weaken Meowth, but the cool thing about it is it does give you some extra goodies, like XP boosters, like large XP boosters and stuff like that. Very easy Pokemon to catch, and very easy to beat with all the ghost support that we have. Okay, so then after that, you want to move on to the stuff that is actually useful. So go ahead and do Lycanroc, Salazzel. Make sure you catch those, farm them if you absolutely want to, but then your top priorities should be for the rest of the week to do Toxipex, get it as high as you can, and then also shift your attention between that and then White Kyurem, which you should definitely skill swap White Kyurem, because Barrier Shot is a decent skill. It's a very good skill. It's the only dragon that learns Barrier Shot, and at 145 attack, it is a beat stick. Alright, so that's it for today. That's all I have for you guys this week. So thanks for listening, and go ahead and leave a like if you like the content. And again, just stay calm and keep shuffling.